We'll be starting Grand Chariot's bracer build with the stencil that I drew up onto newspaper. And the reason why I have this portion cut out is to accommodate for the bend in the elbow that you'll come to encounter. And so this would be the inside portion, and this would be towards your elbow. And the portion right here is kind of a dual purpose. This was in the design of Grand Chariot, and so this portion kind of works in conjunction with how your wrist movement will go. On the left arm, what I did was I cut out the pattern, but I had to extend it just a little bit. As you can see right here, I drew it a little bit larger than the original stencil. And then moving on to here, in order to get this groove, which is also in the design for Grand Chariot, I cut out a triangle, much like I did for the abdominal pieces, using a beveled cut or kind of an angled cut. What I did was take the angled cut and slowly but surely whittled away so it gradually got thinner. To achieve this angled cut, what you want to do is start the initial cut with the really sharp box cutter or whatever blade you have, and make the initial cut really shallow, and then slowly work your way to a deeper angle, and naturally the cut will follow through. I eventually went down to half the thickness of the EVA foam, and so that's what you have right here. The reason why I did that is so that the bracer naturally has a curve to it as it goes towards the wrist portion, so it does kind of a taper as opposed to looking like something that's really blocky. And once everything's formed like this, I glued it and I pushed the pieces together to form this angle, which is what you want right here. And then I plan to heat form it using the heat gun from the outside so the adhesive doesn't tend to come apart on this section. You can faintly see where I used a pencil marker to outline the section that I'll be measuring out for the forearm piece. Basically, I'm going to replicate what I have here, and in better light you can kind of see what I have. Once you cut out the craft foam, we took the pre-cut sections of elastic straps measured around your wrist and also your forearm, and we used the method of E6000 underneath the elastic and use an item heavy enough to press against it. The tricky part is getting the even part on the second section, but that's where the edge comes in place and you're able to press the item on top of it. Once you get everything set, after about 2 hours of drying, slip it onto your forearm and mock test with the bracer and mark off the sections where the contact's going to be. For the Velcro, use the E6000 again under the Velcro and let the pieces dry for about 2 hours. What I found out was my hand is a lot bigger than my wrist and in proportion size, so I need a little bit wider section for the elastic, as it's very snug but it's also hard to get on and off. So I plan to just accommodate maybe a ½ inch more of the elastic, and basically I'm going to cut out a section here. What I started out with was this little pattern that matches up with a section aligned with the piece on the bracer, And so in proportion to that, I made 3 cutouts of the EVA foam. I cut out 3 sections of the EVA foam, and I had a small little scrap piece that fit right in between these, and I just used contact cement to fit in between them, and then I used another section of contact cement on a top layer to sandwich these pieces together. Once that's set in, I hollowed out the section after measuring out how wide the section is, and I hollowed out a piece right there. And the reason why I didn't go all the way through was to create a more secure bond between the different sections here. And with this, it's able to sit in and have multiple points of contact. That way, it'll least likely be able to pop off when being worn. In contact cement, I'm going to bond the pieces together very, very carefully. They still have a little bit of the tackiness, which is what you want. It takes a couple tries at times, but it will eventually sit in place where you want it to be. And so we have contact. Now we have the base for the bracer. It'll fit just like that. I did have some luck with finding a new material for Grand Chariot's back shield type of thing. It was never really explained, but I will go through the manga to figure out and get to the bottom of what that piece is actually called. But from here, I'll just call it a back shield. I also had some success with finding a particular pair of pants slash jeans, jeggings that I came across. They're actually, little tidbit, a pair of girls' jeans. And the reason I went with girls' jeans is because they are actually really snug and fit a purpose for what I needed it to be. They also have the pockets and the zippers, so I can pretty much have normal functions in it. You can keep up with me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can get updates on future conventions, film projects, as well as new things that I'll be doing around town and also across the country. This is a Bant Hero signing out.